IVM.
There's a quick survey to fill out on ivmpodcast.com/survey. It lets us know a little bit more about who's listening to us. And you know what? We're going to do a few prizes. So, we'll do a random drawing of maybe 10 people and we'll send you all some swag. Remember, that's ivmpodcast.com/survey where you can fill out the survey.
Hello and welcome to the Habit Coach Podcast, the bite-sized podcast filled with quick and easy, actionable habits. Remember, great habits create that awesome life. I am Ashdin Doctor, your habit coach. And today's fun fact of the day has to do with borewells. Did you know that the first borewells were made in China? And this was way back in 200 BC. Some of the wells that have been discovered were over 600 meters deep back then, 200 BC. They used a technique where two men would jump on a plank to create an impact while a bull would walk around in circle and drill a hole while they were doing that. Now, strangely enough, this was the same technique used thousands of years later to drill for oil in America. Drilling to the water was just one part of the job. The next was sucking that water up using some form of pumping mechanism. And for that, the hand pump had to be invented. And we've all seen images of this, right? Where people collect around a pump every morning to access water in the villages. When I was in college, I had gone for an anthropological expedition to a tribal village in Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, around there, that border. This was an expedition to practice a technique called ethnography. And the technique is described as participant observation. So we had to not just observe what was going on in the tribal village, but we had to participate in all the activities that were there. One of these everyday activities was going to the water and pumping up the water. And one of these everyday activities was going to the water pump and pumping up water. So 4 of us college kids went to the hand pump and started pumping. 1 minute went by, no sign of water. The first person's arm got tired, then stopped. I went next, pump, 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 no water. We would stop halfway, giggle, and then continue. Finally, one of the tribal kids saw us struggling and came at us. He pushed us aside and went at it, pumping away. And within a few seconds, fresh, clean, beautiful water poured out of the pump. This tiny little kid had shown us up. Later on, one of the elders explained to us that till the water reaches the pump, you cannot stop pumping, or else the water will quickly go back down the pipe. Now, us city kids had been stopping, chatting, making fun of how hard it is. No wonder the water never managed to reach the pump. Now, our habits are exactly like pumping that well. When we first start with our habits, we see no results. Hence, we stop or we get distracted or we give up. When we do that, the momentum we had created slowly slips back. And every time we stop, we are moving the progress backwards. When we are trying to achieve our goals, we often have to keep the action going without seeing the results and without losing any enthusiasm in the process. Like that little tribal boy that came and frantically pumped till the water came, we too have to frantically keep at the habits. Keep pumping the habits till we see the result we've been waiting for. Now, in a world that is short-term focused, wanting instant gratification from everything, being patient and keeping the momentum becomes a superpower. And as your habit coach, I want to see you reach your goals and achieve your dreams. That only happens when you're consistent at something and don't stop. So today, there is no habit, but a realization that you will not see the results immediately. They will take their own sweet time. You have to focus on just repeating your habit over and over and over without stopping or losing interest. Just like pumping of that borewell, you have to move that handle over and over and over. Only if you do not stop pumping are you rewarded with that cool, refreshing water. Usually in a podcast, it's me who speaks to you and you who listens. But I've been seeing your comments and it's time. It's me listening to you. Following the overwhelming success of this podcast, the good folks at IVM Podcast Network have decided to come up with a Kannada adaptation of the show. For those who prefer listening to it in that language, do make sure you let your Kannada speaking friends know about this as well. Now, if you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on social media. We are at IVM Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to reach out to me, I am at Ashdin Doc on Twitter and Instagram. We have a brand new habit coaching online course, quizzes, videos, and a lot more on the website awesome180.com. So check it out now.
Hello. It's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On Cyrus Says Cock and Bull, Cyrus is joined by Vineet, Puneet, and myself, Silvery, Urf Antariksh. We discussed the IPL taking action against Rishabh Pant and the Florida bride that was arrested for lacing her wedding food with marijuana. Yeah, that's wild. On Paisa Vaisa, Anupam and Rahul Shah, co-head of research at Equity Master, talk about how to get started in the equity market. On All Things Policy, the Takshashila folks analyze the role of social movements in public policy. On Pulyabazi, Pranay and Saurabh look into electric vehicles and why their batteries seem to be failing. And on Say No to Drama, Chetna tells us how we can overcome saying no to everything. Do follow us on social media. We are IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you're enjoying this show or any of our other shows for that matter, do tell a friend. It really helps us out a lot. Also, don't forget to rate us on any platforms you're listening on, and you can also check us out on YouTube. We are also doing a small listener survey to better understand how you respond to our shows and advertising on the network. We would really appreciate it if you could spare a few minutes to fill it. It helps us build better shows for you. And finally, we would like to thank our sponsors this week, SBI Life Insurance, India Water Portal, and Jupiter, a digital banking app.
Namaste, this is Cyrus Brocha. I am part of the government cancel culture program to remove rubbish off all the different streams available. So what we have is all the collected rubbish we put together on our show. It's called Cyrus Says. It's on IVM Podcast. You have to watch it and listen to it. It's on our app. It's on our website. It's on the YouTube channel. It's on Facebook. There are many different ways. Don't bother me and ask me how. You have to find out. We talk to different personalities. Many of them are known. Some are just people we meet downstairs and invite them up for chai. But the point is, it's fun and it's very therapeutic. So please join in and listen to Cyrus Says.